After winning last night, the Pirates hope to get on a roll, segue, and make some fans in the process as well. And here tonight, the winner takes the series. We got the Pirates and the Rays for you here tonight from PNC Park. And welcome into the booth. Joe Block and Steve Blass with you here this evening as the Pirates and Rays will feature two of the better young pitchers in the game tonight. And for the Buccos, it's Jameson Taillon, who looks to build on a strong outing his last time around.
Yeah, he's very, very good. We know that going in. But a couple of things about Jameson Taillon. His first start back, he was very good against the Colorado Rockies, 5 shutout innings. The last 2 starts against the Cubs and the Cardinals, he was okay. A total of 11 innings, 6 runs given up. So he's not all the way back. So he's recovering health-wise and recovering pitching-wise. So we hope to see that progress continue.
And Taillon and the Bucs will face Chris Archer tonight for Tampa Bay. And over the last few years, he's been pretty good, but lately probably not as good as he's been in the past.
Yeah, he's one of the best young power pitchers in all of baseball. Last Friday against the Orioles, not so good, but he got 14 runs of support, so an easy win for Chris Archer. The first 8 starts, as you see, excellent work, but as you say, Joe, the last 8 have been just kind of so-so in terms of his standards. So we hope maybe we can get the ball up in the air. There's a strong wind. Last year he gave up 30 home runs. We'll look for the long ball from the Pirate bats.
And the Pirate bats came through. The rookies were really the story last night. They brought in all the runs. And here tonight, it'll be the Pirates and the Rays. Can they win their second series in a row? We'll find out next, right here on Root Sports.
Sports is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network, the largest health system rated #1 in the region for all the things that matter most. And by Kenny Ross Subaru, total confidence pricing. Let's go Bucks!
And Andrew McCutchen and the Pirates get set for this one. Pirates have a chance to win this series for the 2nd straight time. And there is John Tumpain, the third base umpire tonight. Why is that so important? Well, yesterday he saw a young woman who he thought might be trying to take her own life. And he was able to intervene in such a tactful way that he, with some others then who came over to help, and authorities were able to hopefully get her some help and get her back on her way. What an amazing story, and he was recognized before the game here tonight. And Jameson Taillon will face Kevin Cash's 9 here tonight for visiting Tampa Bay. Souza, Dickerson, and Longoria atop the order with Logan Morrison and his 22 home runs cleaning up. Beckham, Shane Peterson gets a start tonight. Echeverria moves up. Jesus Sucre doing the catching of Chris Archer.
And Jameson Taillon will face the Tampa Bay Rays for the first time in his career. First 9 starts. Those are his numbers. Really good the first time back against Colorado, so against the Cardinals and Cubs, but he is progressing, and we hope to see him all the way back. It's going to be a challenge. This is a free-swinging, good-hitting Tampa Bay Rays team, and they've got a strong wind out to left field. I mean, this could be interesting with the balls that get up in the air tonight.
And you and I were talking about, you brought up that the Rays have the second most home runs in all of baseball. They have not hit one yet in this series, and they have not gone an entire series without one so far this season. The Honda defense for the Buccos here tonight. John Zaso will man that expensive left field with McCutchen and Polanco out there with him. Harrison, Mercer, Frazier, and Bell. And Chris Stewart doing the catching. So Jay Hay at third tonight as Freese gets a day off. Stewart doing the catching of Taillon.
Making his third interleague start. Pitched very well against Boston, no decision. The Yankees got to him a little bit, so start number 3 against the opposing league here tonight.
And Malik Smith, who had been in the leadoff role the first 2 nights, getting a day off. So Steven Souza Jr. $14 home runs out of that leadoff spot. First 5 in the Rays lineup tonight, all with double-digit home runs.
Could see an emphasis on the 2-seamer from Jameson Taillon tonight. He likes that pitch. That's one of his real strengths. That's a good way to play into this windy evening.
What is it, a 2-seam fastball?
It's a fastball that has more movement, probably a little less speed than the 4-seamer. The 4-seamer is the power kind of riding fastball. 2-seamer down and into a right-hand batter. The guys hitting the top of the ball, you create a lot more ground balls. But this day and age, these guys are throwing their 2-seamer really hard, and a lot harder than we used to throw our 2-seamers. So nothing wrong with getting a little speed and movement.
Full up on Souza.
Can we show you a 2-seamer? Yeah, the ball kind of coming back in toward the batter, kind of working its way down. That overspin on it.
That one popped up. Josh Bell out there at first. The leadoff man retired by Taillon. And the umpiring crew tonight, Paul Emmel is the crew chief. He's calling the balls and strikes. And there is John Tumpain, who was recognized before the game. That's Ramon DeJesus at second base tonight. Brian O'Nora, the Youngstown native, over at first base. Very classy gesture. There's Brian. Very classy gesture of the Pirates to recognize Mr. Tumpain before the game today. And a robust round of applause for him.
And by the way, handled himself extremely well after the baseball game last night in explaining what he did and how the instincts kind of took over and helped him through that whole situation, and the adrenaline that stayed with him most of the rest of the afternoon, as you would expect.
Yeah, he worked the plate last night and helped probably save somebody's life.
Yep. And during that whole night last night at home plate, taking a look at the Clemente Bridge where all that took place yesterday afternoon.
Taillon behind 2-0 on the first 2 hitters.
There's the look that John had all last night, and he will never forget yesterday afternoon, and that young lady won't either.
Hopefully everything turns out well for her. He's thinking of her. We're thinking of her too. That one down the line, but a foul ball. Now look at some Point Park tweets, and a lot of folks Even though some pain from Chicagoland, still very Pittsburgh crowd that is really cheering for humanity and compassion.
Think about all your heroes, wherever it belongs on that list. Include that young man. That's pretty special.
Here Dickerson riding a 7-game hitting streak. And entering the action tied with Aaron Judge for the best batting average in the American League. A lot of tough outs in this lineup.
Yes, we got a full dose of that last night. The Pirates held them down to 2 runs somehow.
Stays fair. Couple of outs here in the first.
Good start for Jamison against this very highly regarded lineup.
Let's look at our Rivers Casino tips to win.
Yeah, get to Jamison Tyon all the way back. You know, he's progressing. He is getting there, both health-wise and pitching-wise. So yeah, he's right on track, making the progress that he needs to make. The buck bats against Archer's strikeouts. He is second in the American League with 126 strikeouts. He is a power pitcher, not the biggest guy in the world, but lots of power, lots of Ks.
That's Chris Archer.
Mr. Archer.
Now, the Pirates are one of the better teams at not striking out, but you know who gives in, right? We'll see. Longoria hit with the pitch. Took a fastball. And he got a ball off his ankle last night, and then where is it? Right in the ribs. Oh
yeah,
my!
That's vulnerable area. Rib cage.
He got beaten up pretty bad last night. Those don't go away after a couple of minutes. Well, now Logan Morrison will bat with a man aboard.
It doesn't get any easier with his 22 home runs, 54 RBIs. Fastball just kind of tailing out away from the left-hand batter. Didn't miss by much.
9-game hitting streak now for Morrison. Doubled last night. Softly hit, but well placed. And Longoria moves to third here, and back-to-back base runners with 2 outs.
You know, getting back to Aaron Judge for the Yankees, with his batting average you were talking about and the power, what a combination that is. As Jamison gets that ball up in the wheelhouse, and almost a little surprising it wasn't hit harder. He gets enough of it to get over the head of Frazier and allow Longoria to get to third base. So the fact that he didn't really rip it out to right made it easy for the Rays third baseman to get over to third base.
Well, you mentioned last night, you know, just 2 runs for the Rays, but they had opportunities up and down throughout the evening.
And they hit the ball hard.
Yeah.
I mean, hit the ball hard off Ivan Nova. And what a job he did keeping it together. That was a strong performance. You know, if you're going to have a good year, Joe, as a starting pitcher, you need to have 2 or 3 wins in those kind of games where you don't have anything, you're searching, you weave your way through 5 innings somehow, you come out with a win. When you add them all up at the end of the year, 2 or 3 of those can make a big difference, and that was one of them last night for Ivan. It was a pretty gutty performance.
It just shows you that even though the Rays have scored 6 runs in the first 2 games of this series, that they are hard to keep down. I mean, even Beckham, their shortstop's got 10 home runs. A second baseman tonight. I guess he will be now with Echeverria here. Have been playing short. It's foul. They went 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position last night.
It's so easy and so phony to say he couldn't bend that one into fair territory like Beckham would.
Oh, I remember that movie. I don't say that very often.
You know, I didn't see that movie. I never understood what it all meant. Bend it like Beckham.
Something to do with soccer.
Okay. Hook that ball into the cage or something. Okay. So everybody had his breaking ball. A breaking ball.
Oh, 97 from Tyone. Went 2-0 on the first 2 hitters. Hit Longoria. Was behind on Morrison. Now full on Beckham.
Well, the Pirates certainly did some good work last night in their part of the first inning when after 2 quick outs they scored 4. We'd rather have that happen in the bottom half of the inning than the top. Well, Jameson working hard.
Osuna and Diaz among the contributors last night. Rookies drove in all the runs. Morrison on the move on 3-2, and he pulled him. Strike 3 call. Tyone will get out of it. Hit 2 left, and the Buccos get their chance here in the first. Here in the bottom of the first, after Jameson Tyone gets out of that. Adam Frazier back in the lineup tonight. They'll be playing second base, and the RAV4 lineup for the Buccos. Josh Harrison in that number 2 spot, but he's in third base tonight. McCutcheon back at the 3 spot. Bell cleaning up, and the 35 RBIs, third among rookies in the National League. Jaso and Polanco 5 and 6. Mercer, Stewart, and Tyone round out the order.
And they'll be working against Chris Archer, right-hander, making his 17th start, 6-4, 3.88 ERA, 28-year-old right-hander out of Clayton, North Carolina, 6'2", 195 pounds. There's pitchers that are bigger, but not many throw harder. Usually in that 94, 95, 96 mile-an-hour range, sometimes a little higher.
Always interesting in interleague play too, because even a guy as established as Archer, we just don't see him. I mean, a lot of the guys that are in the lineup tonight have never faced him, or at least not during the regular season.
5 and 6 in interleague starts, 14 of them for Chris Archer. Started out his professional career with Cleveland, the time that organization, 5th rounder in 2006, then to the Cubs, and then to the Rays.
And behind, 3-0 on Frazier. Frazier has not yet faced Archer, though these two teams do hook up quite a bit in spring training.
Well, do we ever see a lot of the Rays? Should. That's kind of their home area.
Right to Longoria. Leadoff man gone here in the Pirates' first inning. Longoria, a longtime staple over there at third base for the Rays. And the rest of the defense for them tonight is Dickerson, Souza, and Shane Peterson are in the outfield tonight. Longoria, Echeverria, newly acquired, Beckham, and Morrison around the horn. Jesus Sucre, his first start of the series, doing the catching.
Archer ranked in a lot of categories of American League pitchers. He's ranked in innings pitched, strikeouts obviously 126, second in the American League.
Nine home runs for Josh Harrison.
No, Joe, I was looking over some of the notes. I'm wondering if the Pirates might be inclined to try to run a little bit tonight, because Sucre has not done a very good job in limited play. 14 steal attempts against him as a catcher, 11 successful. He's only thrown out 3.
And Harrison hit with a pitch for the major league leading 17th time.
And you wonder if they're concerned about our hitting Longoria.
Did that early. He's been magnetic this year.
Same location, rib cage. So, payback. Josh has a great approach to what happens after being hit. He knows he's going to get hit. There you see his handling of all that. Now there is a difference if he knows that it's not provoked or it's not for a particular reason, if they're just trying to hit him, because hitters have an instinct about that. They know when it's wrong. They know when they just got to put the bat down and go to first base.
And Harrison hit the most. Farrell Automotive League leaders. So both teams have been warned now. Right off the bat.
That's the 4th batter that Archer has hit. That's not a big number.
Watch the home plate umpire. There you go. Let's see, both teams have been warned. Generally speaking, if there are any other guys hit, there's usually ejections. And McCutchen with a base hit.
Hot bat.
He has been one of baseball's best hitters over the last 5 or 6 weeks now.
By the way, just an aside, Archer has only hit 3 batters each of the last 2 years. This is his 4th this year, as you watch Andrew go out and get that breaking ball and send it into center field. And it just keeps on going for Andrew McCutchen.
Getting better and better at hitting those off-speed pitches. That time the slider, which Archer features quite a bit, about as much as fastball. All right, now if you run, I'll run, right? No, those guys having a lot of fun. Good to see Kutch having fun out there again. You can see it.
Yeah, success breeds fun.
Josh Bell homered last night. He's the team leader now with 15. On pace to break all sorts of rookie home run records for the team and for switch hitters in baseball history.
Again, 30 given up by Archer last year in 33 starts. So far this year, 9 in his first 16 starts. You were mentioning too, he's had 16 starts prior to tonight. First 8 very good, 3.04 ERA. The last 8 have not been nearly as good. So let's see what we get from Chris Archer tonight. All-star a couple years ago.
You talk about him being a big-time strikeout guy. Well, he's been behind every hitter so far.
Yeah, strikeouts, that's a good point, because a lot of strikeouts are produced by getting out in front and having somebody chase the pitch. When you're behind as a pitcher, they're not nearly as tempted to go after something that's borderline.
Now 2-2 on Bell.
Oh, Josh might want to have that one back. That was upstairs. Vulnerable. Gets back into the count. High, but right out in the outside corner. But we've seen balls hit last night that were nowhere near the strike zone and hit hard. So, sometimes you have to throw that grid out in terms of what they're trying to do and what the approach is.
Now though, Sucre and Archer will confer. Last night, Josh Bell, number 15. He's got a ton of power, doesn't he?
Yeah, and talking about getting those hands in and enough of the body out of the way where that ball's not pulled foul. So it's not only the upper body, the legs move too. He's getting as much of himself back away from the pitch as he can, so he can get the better part of the bat on it.
Out that way again, but twisting foul. And before you snicker, now that ball, went in the second row of seats right down the line. But that kind of swing usually, it's a little weak fly out to left, but he was able to muscle it over the wall.
There's a reach there.
Two men aboard with one out.
They wanted that, and they could have gotten that call. That technically is a strike. It's not a great strike, but he got the take that he wanted on it, and it was a breaking ball that really was a strike because Josh was looking for the fastball.
Gets new life on 3-2.
And then throws a really good breaking ball.
That ties up Bell. That's the second out.
Yeah, this one is nowhere near the strike zone, but as it gets close to that home plate area, it's still looking like it's viable, and you got to take a whack at it, and then it just goes to that back foot. Keeps working, keeps grinding, keeps breaking that pitch as it finishes. That's what they call finish on a pitch.
John Jaso, former Tampa Bay Ray.
Was it technically correct the other night that he got hit in the hair? I think it was.
He did get the helmet was skimmed.
Okay, we had skimmer. All right.
Which, considering his concussion issues, kind of was alerting, but he's fine. But yeah, he did get hit a lot in that hair of all places. He's one of the few guys that can stop a ball with it. Already a couple of conversations with the battery. McCutcheon singling following the hit by pitch of Harrison, and Jaso.
All kind of speed on the base pass, and Andrew can take as much of a lead as he wants with Morrison almost on the grass and back of him, so you got a lot of room.
Jaso was teammates with Archer a couple of years ago in Tampa Bay, but did not catch that season.
We've heard a lot about his stuff and everything, and we've also read a lot about what an outstanding young man, if you will, involved with his community and a lot of the young people doing some mentoring.
Just missed with that one. Well, 21 pitches here in the first. Everybody
getting some late sun.
Getting along.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of balanced with the balanced guy up in the back.
And number 22 on his 22nd pitch. Strand's number 22. And we're through one. No score.
A beautiful night here on the North Shore. I'm Robbie and Smikowski. By now you've probably heard of the story of the heroics of umpire John Tumpane. And that story made its way around the Pirates clubhouse, including Josh Bell, who gave us his reaction to reading the story.
His first instinct to be, I'm going to go help this lady out. I'm going to go, put my life on the line and grab her as she goes, limp over the edge. It's pretty incredible, and I'm definitely happy to hear that story worked out.
Able to put it aside and go back there and call balls and strikes for a 9-inning game in the major leagues is pretty incredible, and it's an incredible story, and I'm just glad that everybody's all right.
The second voice you heard was Pirates reliever Tony Watson, and Joe and Steve, two other names that had been mentioned in this whole story, and those are two Pittsburgh police officers. Officer Jeff Tomer was one of the first on the scene, and he was the guy that actually handcuffed the lady to the Clemente Bridge, ensuring that she would not make it there. And Officer Gary Messer as well went over to help out umpire John Tumpane. So those two guys did fantastic work. They were nearby and got there within a couple minutes, and hopefully this story really has a good ending to it all. Obviously it did yesterday, but in the long term it can as well. And John Tumpane is a name that will be a household name around Major League Baseball for quite a while, guys.
Yeah, Robbie, thank you for sharing the names of the officers as well, and there were some other citizens that helped out. Just a story of humanity and compassion, and as Tim DeBacco said, the Pirates public address announcer recognizing Tumpane before the game, bravery too. I mean, I think we all put ourselves in his shoes. What will we do? And I don't know if anyone could act as tactfully and as carefully as he did. And
well, the instincts are involved, because from what I've read about those kind of situations, maybe the worst thing you can do is lunge at somebody first. He had the instinct to talk to her, maybe a calming effect to give him a chance, and then pick his spot to secure her physically so she wasn't going to go any further. So the decision to do something, and then the instincts to do it the right way. So the umpires were recognized as they made their way up onto the home plate area, and Paul Emmel, his fellow umpires, and then John Tumpane acknowledging the crowd. And it was a wonderful, wonderful response. I mean, there aren't enough really positive stories in this world happening right now, and that should give you some goosebumps and make you feel good about what your fellow man is capable of.
Second all that, Steve. After the leadoff double here, Peterson.
And you saw that ball Peterson hit. It was well hit. It had a good chance of going over Jaso's head, but the carry, because of the wind, certainly helped push it and give it more carry.
The ex-Brewer, Shane Peterson. And he's got to stay put. It's going to be a base hit for Echeverria. Slowly rolled. And 2 on with nobody out. This is starting to shape up a lot like what we saw last night from the Rays. And Daniel Hudson on a Point Park tweet talking about how he was touched to have pitched in a game where John Tumpane umpired. Tumpane's in his first full year, being promoted full-time to Major League duty last year.
Native of Chicago, said he called his wife after the incident. He was still shaking. Imagine the emotions as you back off of that, and maybe the impact of all of it starts really registering.
Well, we hope that young lady will be all right going forward. Harrison right at the bag. There's one. And they'll go there for 2. An alert play by Josh Harrison to get the front 2 men.
Yep, not unexpected from Josh. It was perfectly hit to him where he could make a decision as he went over and got the lead out at third base. Where are you going to go from there? And great decision to go to second base. Just leave a runner at first when it looked like the Rays were setting up shop. There was the out. Long throw, and your second baseman becomes a first baseman as Frazier makes the stretch, secures it for a huge double play, big time play for the Pirates.
Rarely do you hit into a double play that you reach on. Now the pitcher bats with 2 away. Archer has no hits in 20 trips. Doesn't get to bat very often, being an American League pitcher. Only when they're in the National League ballparks. And even in the minor leagues, if you're with an American League affiliated team, if you're you play in that game, it's DHs in those games, so they don't bat there either. And behind on him though, 2-1. And 3-1 now on the opposing pitcher.
We have Nova walking the opposing pitcher of all things last night. That was a headline.
I want to get back to the top of the order with Souza here. Yeah. Plop it in there and do another.
Yep. Thank you, sir. May I have another rinse and repeat.
Yeah, Nova acknowledged he really struggled last night, but the 2 runs he gave up, he really earned that victory last night.
Oh, yeah. They were knocking the ball all over the place on him. He was struggling. He was throwing the ball all over the place. Very un-Nova-like.
Archer strikes out. So Tyone works around 2 leadoff hits. And we're still scoreless through 1.5. Score as we go to the bottom of the second. That's a nice souvenir. Clint Hurdle signed baseball waiting for him. And Gregory Polanco, he's been moved down to the 6th spot, and he has been working very hard over the last couple of weeks or so, especially. But this is earlier today, working on breaking pitches. Jeff Livesey, assistant hitting coach, telling me that he's been working especially on that lower half extensively. There's Jeff Branson, hitting coach of the Pirates. Those guys work so hard with all the hitters, but some extra work for Polanco. Mara Barte's been working with them extensively over the last week plus now in the outfield to try to get better defensively.
Well, you come out early and you have one-on-one. It's the perfect kind of formula because it's so intense. I mean, there's not other people interrupting or stepping in, taking their turns in the batting cage. You got one-on-one with your batting coach, your assistant batting coach, and you can get down and dirty. And the whole key is coming out early and spending an hour or so repetition of the right fundamentals. And I'm not sure what all those gestures meant by the coaches, but they do, and they convey it to Polanco. And if he is able to repeat that, repeat it, then he doesn't have to think so much about it, and it maybe becomes part of him, and it helps. It can't hurt to get out and have the right fundamentals worked on with a repetition factor over and over and over with that machine that will throw you breaking balls consistently. And that's pretty intense stuff.
And he's been humbled, and you know, he acknowledges that. And you know, after having such a especially the first 4 months of last season, He was one of the, all-star caliber outfielder last year, and you know it's in there. So how do you get it back? He's trying to work on it as best he can. And if he comes anywhere close to what he was doing last year, think about that this offense, how it's already improved. Well, it certainly could get a lot better.
Yeah, and that is a whole separate subject by itself. And then what you mentioned too, working out with the Barty out in the outfield. If you're not hitting, you can work on your defense too. You know, make sure your glove is better.
And we've seen some immediate dividends from that too. I mean, some diving catches that he's made within the last week or so. And
I'll tell you, it's easier, I think, to improve your defense than it is to improve your hitting. Hitting's tough. I mean, it really is tough. I think you can really accomplish a lot defensively by just going out there and a lot of intense hard work day after day, every afternoon after every afternoon. The fielding can be improved easier, I think, than the hitting. Not that it's easy, but
yeah.
I think it's more out there for you to get better at.
Less extremely difficult.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But Polanco in that 6th spot, being moved down in the order. First extended time this low in the lineup since the early portion of last season. Trying to get him going.
You know, when you think about a major league position player, he's got to work about hitting and defense. Pitchers, all we have to worry about is pitching primarily.
And base running. Even base running, too. I mean, there's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
Josh Bell, I mean, we've talked about him. John Jaso last season. Speaking ad nauseum about that, Jaso's had to readjust this year to the outfield. So there's Jaso. He's out.
All those things make it easier.
He's a catcher. He's out there playing in big left field tonight, but he's worked at it. And, you know, with the attrition that the Pirates have faced this year, they've had to do that with some guys. Jordy Mercer, though, the stalwart at shortstop. After that torrid month of hitting, where he was leading the league in batting average over that span, has now fallen on harder times. 2 for his last 20. All part of the ebbs and flows. Still, if you include that time, 341 since the 22nd of May. And some of the things I've been looking at, you know, with Mercer, defensively speaking, I mean, he made an error the other day. 4 errors all year at short. I mean, single-digit errors each of the last prior 2 seasons as well. Just 20 errors in the last 3 seasons at shortstop. There's one guy already this year that's almost got 20 errors this year at shortstop.
It's a busy neighborhood.
Just goes unheralded.
Well, you like a guy that plays that busy a position, and he makes all the plays he should. He'll make some extraordinary plays, but you want consistency. You want that bottom foundation of him making all the ones he's supposed to make, and he makes most of them.
And you look up any of the numbers, the new ones, the old ones. I thought last year he should have been a finalist for the Gold Glove. I will campaign for that again this year. Brandon Crawford making another case in San Francisco, but if you got 3 guys in the National League playing shortstop, there is no doubt that Mercer's one of the top 3 defensively too. And the bat has played this year better.
We'll see Mr. Crawford starting tomorrow night. The Giants, struggling Giants.
Yeah, surprising to see them in the basement. We will not see Mark Melancon. He just hit the disabled list. And speaking of those who are injured, our Allegheny Health Network injury update. Francisco Cervelli, good to see him here at the ballpark. He was out on the field early today doing some throwing with trainer Todd Tomczyk, and trying to do a little bit more every day. He'd been doing some light cardio work and continuing to come out of each test without any reoccurring symptoms. He was just transferred to the 10-day DL, paperwork move today. He was on the concussion DL, but not a new concussion. It's still some symptoms coming back from that concussion suffered 3 weeks ago in Baltimore.
By the way, those Giants have 30 wins, and that's the second fewest. Only the Phillies with 26 have fewer wins this season. Stunning for the Giants.
Well, you don't usually talk about, well, hey, the Giants are coming to town. Let's see if maybe pick up a sweep. Garrett Cole will face Johnny Cueto tomorrow night to open that series.
That will not be a dull matchup. They're always kind of animated, very emotional. They show it on their sleeves.
We just mentioned his brother-in-law, Brandon Crawford. Brandon's sister is Garrett Cole's wife now, so he'll especially like to face him at the plate. Meanwhile, Archer here takes care of the Pirates in order in the second. 3 strikeouts for the Rays righty, and we're scoreless through 2. Our T-Mobile Unlimited baseball break, and for Bartolo Colon, might this be it? He was designated for assignment today. The 44-year-old, the active wins leader in baseball. Miguel Sano says he'll be in the home run derby, and Chase Anderson leaving the game with a strained left oblique for the Brewers, hitting the disabled list. He's been their best starter, one of the best starters really in the National League this season, and for the Brewers leading the NL Central.
Yeah, you know, I'm starting to count the list of names of pitchers that are active, rather than disabled.
Look at I mean, for instance, the Rays, they've got 11 guys on the DL, and that's after activating Brad Boxberger today.
It's almost become a rotational thing. This guy from Burger King.
Well, it's Game of Thrones night here tonight, but I thought the same thing. I thought maybe.
Yeah, that used to be the symbol of that burger chain. But well advertised, Game of Thrones night here at the ballpark.
Yes.
A lot of people enjoying that. Heads up. I'm waiting for the game of Jeopardy night here at PNC Park.
What is awesome? Oh, wow. The House Renegades. Ah, they're into theme as well. Checking out the sign that they made right there. Some of the Pirates too, big fans. Trevor Williams, in fact, has been tweeting about this for, I think, months now. And
this is a former clubhouse. This is not the Pirates clubhouse. And very stylish yet understated.
Mother of Dragons garb for Mr. Williams.
It looks like a dragon mom.
I was at the Arizona Fall League last year. I'm guessing that was Halloween. But off the plate. And the shovel pass. Doesn't Bell usually get a pass like that, not give it?
Yeah, well, now when that ball hits again, it becomes a little dicey, not much. It should go comfortably 3-1, and it did. On those kind of plays, you'd rather have that ball not bounce one last time. It just makes it easier. There used to be a version of the pepper game called the flip game when you would do the cheval like that in French, the shovel.
I miss seeing those pepper games and such.
The flip games were fabulous. They were fabulous. Just
help hand-eye coordination, right?
Yeah, yeah. Pepper, that's part of it. Pepper games.
Corey Dickerson getting one at about 5 feet his first time. He's one of baseball's best hitters this season.
Used to love the pepper games, but you know what? It's like telling your wife you have a favorite meal that she cooks, and then you'll never see it again. It's like the pepper games. You loved them, so they've gone.
It used to be guys would collect, you know, like in front of the dugout, right? And you know, take the bat and just kind of chop it at one another. And
part of when you first got out on the field, instead of anything structured, you get 3 or 4 guys. You have a little pepper game. One guy with a bat, and you're only about 15 feet, 10, 15 feet away, and you hit little shots and you just react. Then you get bored with that, so you start shoveling back and forth. Whoever dropped it got bad things said about him.
Kind of a hot potato or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's fun. It was part of the
skills game for fun.
The pregame ritual, like taking infield.
What's that?
What is that anymore? I mean, fans used to love to come and watch major leaguers take infield practice. I mean, that's when you could really put on a show. But it's gone away.
It used to be part of the daily routine. Some teams still do it occasionally. So a 1-out walk issued by Tyone. Put a man on in each inning so far. And hey, coming up on Sunday, it's Kids Day. Pirates and the Giants at 1:35. And before the game, there's the Family Fun Zone on Federal Street. All kids 14 and younger. Also taking home this replica alternated Jameson Tyone jersey. And after the game, kids 14 and younger can run the bases. For tickets, go to pirates.com/kidsdays. Good to see all the kids at the ball yard tonight.
Well, wouldn't you have loved to see those kids watch Willie Stargell and Roberto Clemente throw it the bases during infield practice, come out and watch those arms?
Oh, yeah.
And that was part of the deal, those long throws, and just it was fun for the guys doing it. They were working on stuff, but just air it out. There's no pressure. You see some great arms displayed.
Infield practice was always done following batting practice, so if you came to the ballpark, that's kind of what you would see. You'd see the tail end of visitors batting practice, and then you'd see both teams get to compete in that infield practice. Normally, you wouldn't get to see the home team do any drills before the game. Now a lot of video work, right? Specialized stuff in cages underneath. Early work done well before the gates open. Softly hit. I mean, one play, and that's at first. We talk about Willie Stargell. And who doesn't like to talk about Willie Stargell? How about our day automotive? This day in Pirates history. Back in '77, Pirates beating the Cardinals 9-1. Bill Robinson, Phil Garner, and Willie Stargell each homering in the game for Pops. Number 400 of his career. First Pirate that reached that milestone. He finished with 475 home runs. He hit it off of Eric Rasmussen.
Yep, it was a pleasure to watch a lot of them. Up on the hill with Will was one of his nicknames, and that came from when he played in Nashville, North Carolina. There's a hill in back of right field. It was up on the hill, and then it was chicken on the hill. Bob Prince coined that when Willie was involved with a restaurant that featured chicken up on the Hill District.
Oh, wow.
So it was chicken on the hill, and Prince once said if he hits one on the hill, there's free chicken for everybody. You should have seen that line as he hit one.
Or the seat in Montreal that we got to see this year, hitting it 570 feet away or something like that. The old vet had a seat for him in Philadelphia.
I wish they could have measured the one in Los Angeles past that single palm tree. They would have measured it, but it hit a Chevy, and then the Chevy drove away later on after the game. But that was a monster shot in L.A. There's a single palm, very skinny, slender palm out in back of the visitors' bullpen, and he reached it.
Might have knocked it over. Weekly hit right to Bell. And a 1-out walk left on. So Tyone works around that. We still got a pitcher's duel as promised so far here tonight. Off your weekend with the Bucks and some of the best bands in the burg during Friday Night Rocks presented by IC Light. Eternal Boys, our featured performer tomorrow as we showcase local artists and tracks during every Friday night Pirates broadcast. 6:30 we'll be on with you. Pirates and Giants beginning a 3-game series tomorrow night here. Beautiful sunset illuminating downtown. Tyone is gone here in the third. And after a brief hiccup for Chris Archer, he has now sent down the last 6 men he's faced.
By the way, one last thought about Willie Stargell. Willie came up as a left fielder, and there was 365 to the right field corner down at Forbes Field, and you had to hit it over the clock to get a home run on top of that. But Willie played there for several occasions, several years. He came straight over the top. Clemente was quicker, more consistent, but Willie came right over the top, and that ball had a lot of carry in. So they'd hit it down in that corner, and it became an adventure to try to get to second base because not many people realized what a great arm he had. Might have been pure strength. It might have been stronger than Clemente's, but Roberto was so consistent and just so great with his arm. Willie didn't get the attention, but he had a rifle when he first came up.
Well, I thought you were going to say, well, you know, guys may question going to third, second. Wow. So base hit out there.
Yeah.
You better scamper.
Came right over the top. Great arm.
There's a Clemente jersey. Adam Frazier chopped one to third his first time around.
I still go back every once in a while. I'm thinking about the old days and think about pitching in front of 3 Hall of Famers when Willie moved to first base. Stargell at first, Maz at second, Clemente in right. I mean, that part of the field was covered. So just hit it that way. You know, take your chances. I'm going to go get a sandwich. When I come back, you'll be out. As simple as that.
I'm sure that gave you a lot of confidence.
Yeah. What an honor. Maz with what he did. Ooh, Robbie make a play on that ball?
I'm sure he did. Oh, hey. Don't drop what you're selling.
That's TJ, isn't it? Yeah. TC, I'm sorry, TC. He has been a fixture around Pirate baseball. TC. One of the most animated vendors you're ever going to see. Energized.
Where did it go?
Yeah. That's why you have to stay alert at the ballpark. Those things get there very quickly.
Well, let's get out of play. Dickerson with the chase.
Did he catch?
No. Close though. Foreign lands for Mr. Dickerson.
Yeah, foreign lands, and then that little cutout area. You got to remember where you are, what the angles you have. He came close, but kept pushing away. That wind is not only blowing out, but it's blowing across a little bit with all that spin, taking it that way. There's that kind of notch, if you will, that the left fielders have to deal with. Is it going to hit up against that short fence or continue on? And that breeze continues.
Yeah, warm day too, 82. We talked about that. Steve, you surmised that if we see some balls hit up that way, that might go out of here.
Oh yeah.
So far, both pitchers have been controlling that tonight. Always the best part of the night when the sun sets, especially here in early summer. Quite a battle here.
You know, we see those shots, and every once in a while, not only looking out is so gorgeous, but in between innings, we'll sneak out and take a look down the river to see what's happening over the West End Bridge. But it all comes from that direction and just hits our city about as good as the sun can hit any city. This setting, you either have it or you don't. We have it. We just simply have it.
That one in the glove of Echeverria, but Frazier runs too well.
Yeah, once that ball got by Archer, it was going to be a tough program for the greatest of shortstops, and Echeverria is a very good shortstop.
And so Frazier earns that one. 10 pitches into the at bat. Ground infield single.
Yeah, just past Archer, and then it's done. And now we were talking earlier about the possibility of the Pirates running. Not much happening, and that lends itself to running, and no matter who's pitching, no matter who's catching. Trying to manufacture a run. We got two good pitchers. I'm sure Archer and the Rays are very much aware of the possibility of Frazier taking off.
5 steals, been thrown out 4 times.
Sucre, as we said, has not been throwing well, but that can be the fault of the pitcher, as we know from the statements of Miguel Montero. And you know, he had a point to a degree that the catchers have to get help from their pitchers. They do. But that being said, he didn't throw anybody out, and the other catchers for the Cubs were throwing a degree of runners out. So you've got to get help from your pitchers, but the other catchers have found a way to do a much better job.
And Miguel Montero was designated for assignment a day after making those comments. Here Josh Harrison hit with a pitch his first time around, and now behind in the count. Well, for Archer, a guy that throws a fastball and a slider, is that, I mean, everything's hard. Is that tough to run on?
It helps, yeah. It helps him. It certainly does help him. Ball gets to home plate quicker. And a slider is more on a plane. The curveball sometimes going down makes it a little different for the mechanics of the catcher. Get down there and bring it back up.
Frazier runs, and a base hit. He'll turn the bag and head to third on the single by Josh Harrison.
That's about as perfect as you can draw it up, isn't it? The runner takes off and a line BB base hit to center field. That's instant first and third, out of water and serve. Josh goes downstairs a little bit, gets a little bit of lift, gets himself a knock.
Guess fastball, got it.
Well, they do get the running game going, and it pays off. Let's hope it can pay off some more.
Well, now in the number 3 spot for the last few days, Andrew McCutchen. He'll bat with 2 on and 1 out. Looking to bring in the game's first run. McCutchen had a single his first time.
And you wonder about the speed on the bases. Still, they got to. Yeah, I'm not surprised they're keeping track of Harrison over at first.
He leads the team with 9 steals. Frazier 90 feet away with the game's first run.
Now Archer is a swing and a miss guy. He's got 3 strikeouts so far tonight. Picking up his speed. Started out the game 93, 94 miles an hour on his fastball. That one clocked at 96. He's not the biggest guy, as we said. 6'2", 195 pounds. Plays with a big arm.
And a lot of attention to Harrison.
Oh, kind of a delay call perhaps by Paul Emmel, but the correct call. Breaking ball downstairs. Picked up the bottom line of the strike zone. So he's got some wiggle room.
Runners in scoring position, 313.
He has thrown 8 wild pitches. That ranks him among the National League leaders. Sometimes they'll try to get somebody to chase.
And just over Beckham's leap. Frazier is in, and McCutchen comes through to drive in the first run of the ball game.
Andrew 2 for 2 and takes a breaking ball that you have no reason to hit that ball that solidly. But Andrew McCutchen is on fire, and he just took a good pitch away from Chris Archer. Look at that location. You don't hit that ball that hard. Look at Archer jumping out. You're not supposed to do that. But he's being Andrew McCutchen right now.
Andrew McCutchen now batting .500 with runners in scoring position. Since that day, he was moved to the 6th spot, and since then, back to the 3 spot.
Look at that, going down there and not just blooping it over the second baseman's head, hitting it on a line. Yes, I'm hot.
Well, he worked on that specifically. We were looking at that earlier with Polanco, working with the Pirates coaches, and that's what McCutchen did. Right about that time that he was moved down on the order, working specifically on hitting breaking stuff and off-speed stuff.
Yep. It's working. It is working. Now you've got Archer's attention now, because he is a really good pitcher, and now that'll get in your head. Hey, I just throw a really good breaking ball, and I got burned on it. Now maybe back on his heels a little bit, you get able to jump on one. Now you can put up a big number. It happens after those kind of hits that are not supposed to occur.
Bell leads the team with 15 home runs. It should be 2. It is. But the Pirates strike for the first one on 3 consecutive singles. 1-0 Buccos.
It's time for the Toyota all-wheel drive RAV4th inning. Toyota, what drives you?
Andrew McCutchen. He had a good pitcher's pitch, and he has stayed hot, 2 for 2 tonight, giving the Pirates a 1-0 lead. And happy birthday today to The Rock.
Yeah, John could be inside that outfit right there.
What he does when the team's at home. Happy big 5-0, Rock.
Yep.
I know he's watching.
Well, you know, it all fits. He's been kind of a furry fan, so now he gets inside the Chick-fil-A outfit and goes to work.
Hanging breaking ball, and Beckham leads things up. Off here with a base hit.
Yep, and Beckham, big strikeout for Jameson Taillon on a 3-2 count in the first inning where he struck Beckham out. Big welcome for the folks on one of the Gateway Clipper fleet boats, and that would be the Princess.
Perfect night.
And they're having a lot of fun.
Just a little warm tonight, and out on the water there, cool you off. Shane Peterson with a loud double his first time around.
Just adjust the song lyrics, not cruising up the river, cruising down the river.
Yes, toward the point. Beckham with 4 steals, but thrown out thrice. Taillon has had a man on, at least one man on in each inning so far. This is kind of shaping up a lot like Noah's outing. Not quite as many hard hit balls, but the Rays with action. And so far, Taillon able to get out of it.
I like the thrice. That goes along with the theme of the evening, Game of Thrones. Thrice.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of a medieval word.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right. Yeah, Merlin would have used that.
It was unintentional, but thank you for the credit.
Not Glenn Merlin, a friend of ours, but Merlin, the magician, back in those days.
Broke his bat. Long run from McCutchen, and he tracks it down.
And a little action over at first base. Outfielders playing deep, and Andrew came a long way on the dead run.
Long commute.
And Jordy Mercer going out there just in case he would have been needed as looking at this replay, but Andrew in full flight. And feeling a little frisky just in case there's anything careless going on at first base. I got it, I got it, I got it. And that's a lot of leather around that baseball. That's a big glove. As you say, he puts the clamps on it, those gloves. Most of the time they will close and secure.
Clutches that one for the first out. And Danny Echeverria traded over by the Marlins right before this series. Stays in state. Had an infield hit back in a second.
Jameson dealing at 94 miles an hour. On occasion, that would go up a little bit higher. Chris Stewart. The capable hands of Chris Stewart behind the plate for Jameson.
Trying to keep Beckham honest.
Rocco Baldelli, one of the great baseball names, first base coach for the Rays.
Career ending prematurely, and
Rocco,
fan favorite, entering coaching. Began coaching at age 33. Usually he's still playing at that time. But
pretty good move by Jameson. There was a point where, and I lost track of the time when how long ago it occurred, when the average major league career was about 4.7 years.
Not sure what it is these days. Beckham running, swing and a miss, and the ball caroming off Frazier. It's a stolen base for Beckham.
That's all right. Adam did all he could after the fact by just laying on Beckham, so he wasn't going anywhere toward third base. There's the swing. There's the throw. Short hop gets away, and they're not laying on him, but staying in the neighborhood. Phantom block.
Yes. Stewart this year about the major league average in throwing out attempted base stealers. That keeps him out on the double play, but Beckham runs in 2 and out.
Pirates take advantage of the mistake and leave it just at a runner at first base, not in scoring position. Kevin Cash probably not crazy about that play. Sharply hit. Easy decision for Jody Mercer.
What's the old rule about the ball hit the short?
Make it go through. Ball's in front of you. At least what I thought it was till I saw that.
So instead, Echeverria at first for Sucre. Yeah, he knew it. Guys make mistakes sometimes. Softly hit foul. 2 strikes on the Rays catcher, number 8 batter in the lineup. Oh, kept coming in. A defensive swing. Don't hit me.
Yep. Might have hit that to keep the ball from hitting him. Yep.
Kind of Bell-like.
Times 10.
Yeah. Plays off the curve.
So far, as expected, with 2 young, really good right-handers working. It's been choppy at some points, but still just 1 run up on the board with Tyone and Archer.
And Frazier right there. Adam shaded up the middle, and he gets the final out. Hitting a man left. And the Pirates leading 1-0. sulking after that injury news to Chase Anderson. They get 2 guys back in their lineup. Entering the day leading the Cubs by a game. Cubs were winners today.
Actually, the Brewers beating up on the Reds early in their contest.
Good to see everybody out at the ballpark here tonight. Beautiful night. Early summer, temperatures in the low 80s. Little breeze tonight.
And get out here on the weekend, because you're not going to see your Buccos at home for a while. Go on the road after this series and then the All-Star break. Well, come on out.
Last
Always
day to vote for the All-Star game.
Yep, always entertaining. Pittsburgh Pirates, San Francisco Giants.
And Clint Hurdle was talking about yesterday. Who would he pick and select into the All-Star game if he could? And he unequivocally said Josh Harrison, Ivan Nova, and Felipe Rivero. And he said, you know, McCutchen, with all the outfielders, he's come on late, but obviously deserves some consideration considering what he's done over the past 5 or 6 weeks. But drove in a run tonight.
The only run so far.
Well, tonight is the last chance to vote. Jaso deep out to right center, and there it goes. Hits one off his old mate, and the Pirates double their lead.
Number 6 for John. Hit it to the big part of the ballpark, right center field. A lot of carry. Said the only run of the ball game so far, and so we add on to that.
Well, you mentioned it, Steve. Archer sometimes susceptible to the long ball, and Jason cracked that one.
That's right there in terms of height, and he just turned it back around. He went out and got it. He bent it, put the hook on it, and got it out of here.
Hanging slider.
Nothing wrong with the way John Jaso's been swinging the bat lately.
And a great souvenir. How about that?
Yeah. Now, will he give it to that? Will he give it to that lady like the young man did last night? A lot of chivalry going on.
Yeah, if that's his sister, no.
Doesn't work that way, does it?
Should be nice to your sister. Softly hit. The first out in the 4th.
Well done, John.
Yeah, really, most of the last 2 months, top hitter. Yeah, this guy
caught the baseball, and the gift was presented.
How about that? That's very nice. Oh, John J. Snow. Game of Thrones tonight. Okay. I see what you're trying to do there, Sean.
It works. Just go with the theme.
Now Jordy Mercer. Pirates lead Archer and the Rays 2-0, trying to win their 2nd straight series. Pirates entering play tonight 4 games back of Milwaukee. Cubs were winners today. Cardinals winners today. And as we just showed you, the Brewers with an early large lead against Cincinnati. So Pirates still trying to keep pace here as we near the season midpoint. Echeverria for the 2nd out. Jaso's leadoff home run has doubled the lead. Archer had given up all singles prior to the home run.
That was number 9 given up on his side of the ledger. I'm sorry, I had it written down 9 already. Number 10.
How about 11? Well, that's a line drive hanging up there long enough. Chris Stewart is retired, but Jaso with the home run, estimated at 412 feet. Hitting it off his old teammate. The Pirates double their fun.
Chris Archer is not only here to play baseball, he also paid a visit with Josh Bell, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and two of his teammates, Malik Smith and Tim Beckham. They visited the Pittsburgh RBI program at Willie Stargell Field in Homewood. I asked Chris Archer about it, and he said, hey, it was amazing and it was special. And he knows the efforts that the Pirates put into the Pittsburgh RBI program, so he was happy to do it. And he said, listen, he wants to impact as many people as he can in any city or country that he visits. And he said to add Pittsburgh to the list was quite special for him. And I also asked Malik Smith about it. He said, hey, Archer's the one that told me about it, not a member of the Tampa Bay Rays organization or the Pirates. He said it's rare for the Rays when they go to a city, and Chris Archer does not make a community visit. So he certainly enjoys his platform as a baseball player to impact others. And one other funny thing, when I asked Archer about it, I said, hey, Chris, can I ask you about the visit you made with Josh Bell to the Pittsburgh RBI program? And he said, hey, you mean the visit Josh Bell made with me? And Bell confirmed that, saying Chris Archer kind of took control of the whole visit. Had a good time too.
Yeah, he's done that before, and kind of showing the rookie what it's like. And you know, it's great. I know we expect so much of today's ball players. Not everybody is as comfortable trying to help out folks and trying to be a good role model. But it's great to see those who embrace that role and do so well at it. And it affected so many people, as you see a lot of the tweets pointing out Josh Bell being a part of that. And good for Josh to want to do as much as he can in the midst of a busy schedule throughout the season.
Yep, puts his efforts where his mouth is. Just doesn't talk about it. He does it.
You see that Dallas Patriots. That was a baseball academy that Josh was a part of. Near his hometown of Irving, in Texas.
Not the Dallas Cowboys. It's kind of a contradiction.
Yeah,
Dallas Patriots.
Come to think of that, yeah. But trying to get kids to play ball. Simple as that. Giving them the opportunities.
Number 3 for Tyone.
Trying to go for that first 1, 2, 3 inning tonight, but he's got a lead.
And you hope that the Pirates can tack on to that, because again, this Tampa Bay team can put the sting on the baseball, so pile up as much as you can. Hope for the best.
Hey, go back to the top of the order here. Next 5 guys, all with double-digit home runs. Remember, we're at about the season midpoint, so these are all guys that are going to hit, you know, on pace 20, 30, 40 home runs.
It's exactly the midpoint for the Rays. They've played 81 games.
Dickerson.
They're effective.
333 coming into tonight.
And this guy not even related to John Phillips, Susan. Stars and Stripes forever. I don't think they spelled it the same way. And I was pretty sure they weren't related. Ouch, ouch. And drives into the stands.
There's Evan Longoria. Longest serving Ray, the dean of the Rays.
Everybody's all right down in the stands.
.71 pitches for Taillon here in the 5th. Right at Mercer. And before I fall down, let me unload the baseball.
Yeah, and once again, they've been hitting some balls right on the button at Pirate defenders. That happened last night enough times to keep it as a 2-run offensive production for the Tampa Bay Rays, and that ball was a BB, as was the one hit by Sucre to Adam Frazier. What have I got to do? What have I got to do?
Been that kind of series for the Rays.
Here's a refreshing half inning for Jamison Taillon.
I'd like to see that, a 10-pitch inning and a 1-2-3 inning for the first time tonight. He and the Buccos have a 2-0 lead. Fireworks light up the night tomorrow, and the Bucks take on the Giants at 7:05. It's all thanks to the Western PA Honda dealers. Come to PNC Park early for a barrel block party on Federal Street, featuring alumni autographs and the Line and Kugel Bar. Go to pirates.com/fireworks. Get your tickets. And here on the UPMC scoreboard, the Pirates 2 and the Rays nothing. A pitcher's duel tonight, as we thought may happen. So far, it has lived to the billing. Pirates out hitting the Rays 5-4. Archer victimized by Jaso's leadoff home run in the 4th. An RBI single by McCutchen in the 3rd.
Now Archer not happy about the location of that pitch, as Jamison put a pretty good swing on it, but gets away with a foul ball. Last time out, Archer, as you said, struggled. 6 innings, 4 earned runs. Gets a strikeout here, but was backed up with a 14-run attack as they beat the Orioles. So plenty of room to work with.
So far in this series, the Rays have scored 6 runs.
Yeah, when you hold them to an average of 3 runs a game, you're pitching very well.
And Rays, only the Astros coming into the series with more home runs in all of baseball. The Rays
but
have not hit one in this series, which they've never gone a series this year without hitting a home run.
No taters.
That may change though, and Tyon will have to stay sharp to fulfill that. Frazier capped at 10. There's Tyon. So far blanking the Rays through the first 5. Frazier a 10-pitch at bat, culminating in a single back in the 3rd. Right to Lomo. Logan Morrison.
Not slow-mo, Lomo.
Yeah. Now let's go down to Robbie, who's got some more on Josh Harrison.
Yeah, Josh Harrison hit by a league-leading 16 pitches now, Joe. And while it was once kind of funny, now it's kind of getting out of hand. Now, Josh told me he doesn't think there's any malicious intent by anyone, but he also said he is not going to change his approach at the plate. The stubbornness in his approach this season is which has him pushing the 300 mark. And he's not going to change the way he approaches each at-bat just because he's getting hit so much. He did add, however, that in recent conversations with his mother, Benita, she said she won't hesitate to make a trip here and have a few words with some of these pitchers if they keep hitting her son. Although Josh Harrison and Chris Archer are pretty good buddies, they were teammates on the World Baseball Classic team earlier this season in spring training.
Yeah, I think we need to keep a hit by pitch counter up there. Now up to 17 after another one tonight. Hard to keep track of all that with how often he's been hit. And there's a hit. He's been on base all 3 times tonight. Coming in with a .370 on base percentage, the best of his career, and that's gone up quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, and don't get mom involved. Don't get mom involved. She'll come in here and clean house if she's not happy with what's happening to her son.
Yeah, yeah. I think everybody recognizing how Josh Harrison is not indestructible, and this has become quite a common occurrence as well. Most times hit in baseball this season, and the way things are going, Harrison would break the team record too.
Well, pitchers like to protect their room when they pitch, and there are some hitters that like to protect their room when they get up there, and he covers the plate. That's part of the deal. Just ask Anthony Rizzo.
Andrew McCutchen has not had a lot of activity against Archer during the regular season, but in the All-Star game a couple of years ago, McCutchen going deep, getting it off the facing of that second deck. And so I'm sure both of them reminded of that. That was Archer's lone All-Star appearance to date. McCutchen has singled off him twice tonight. And Harrison, McCutchen, and Archer, all part of that World Baseball Classic United States team that won it all this year for Jim Leyland.
Not much happening here with 2 outs. Don't be surprised if Josh takes off. A lunge, and they almost got him. Gets back safely.
That back part of the bag.
That's how it ended. I'll tell you, the way our guys shoot that, you don't need to call New York on any of those things. Our guys have got it. They've got that shot. That is a beautiful thing. They stay right on the base because eventually all the action has to come right directly to the base. They're not out there in the upper part of the body. They're on the base, and that's where it has to happen, one way or the other.
Cracked out to right. And clanging off the Clemente wall. Harrison reading it all the way. And a late hold.
He slipped.
And so with 2 outs and Bell coming up, Harrison puts the brakes on after a good throw in from Peterson.
How about Andrew McCutchen right now? Just on it. He's on this stuff. And that's in a hittable area. And when you're hot, you hit that ball and you hit it hard. The only thing missing on that contact by Andrew was height. It had plenty of juice on it, just not enough height.
And again, driving a ball to the opposite field, which he's done with regularity.
Josh Harrison's going to go. I mean, he's all set to go. And then slipped by design.
Now Joey Cora holding him up after that good throw in by Peterson. Beckham took the relay on the infield dirt, so that would have been a tough chore. And the way that Valley swung the bat, why not give him a chance with 2 men in scoring position?
Yeah, this is a big item. This is a big point in this ball game. Pirates have a 2-0 lead. They can break it open a little bit, or Archer can keep it at 2.
2 keeps you real nervous. 4 gives you a little breathing room against this good offensive club. 230 hitter, 0 for 2 tonight, but 15 home runs.
Yep, base hit here opens the baseball game up. That number 50 would enjoy seeing that. He has been outstanding through 5.
And Bell ahead in the count.
Well, you would think Archer wants to face Bell as opposed to the guy in the on-deck circle because of what the guy in the on-deck circle did last time up, John Jaso. So if you think he's pitching around Bell, he is not.
84 pitches for Archer. Jaso. And that home run to right center his last time.
Came off the fastball. Just a tad out in front. Have to be careful these days. These guys are throwing 90-mile-an-hour change-ups, 88-mile-an-hour breaking balls.
Something to watch. And somehow the hitters still find a way to adjust. 2 on, 2 out. Golfed toward left. But Dickerson is there. And the Pirates threaten. But Archer holds him at bay for the inning. But still 2-0 Buccos. Rob, you know, they're trying to get their bullpen together. They've got all these talented players. They are perennially at or near the top of the division, and this year is no exception. Already with a 9.5 game lead And it just never seems to have the team be on the incline there.
Yeah, there goes my cab home. Listen, stop, I'll catch it.
They can't put it all together. And Longoria retired to start the 6th.
Well, you know, the big X factor, you're getting close to the All-Star break. After that, you start really getting serious about paying attention to a lot of things. The injury factor is the X factor for everybody, and it just it's a big item. You just don't know. Guy gets hit with a pitch, you pull a groin, you pull a hamstring, you get flu-like symptoms. Anything can happen.
And for the Pirates, the two biggest sluggers that were returning this year, it's not an injury. One's a visa issue, the other one a suspension. Starling Marte on Monday will be eligible to begin rehab games and for preparing for his July 18th return. So the Pirates know that they'll get at least one of those two guys back somewhat soon. That one had eyes. And Morrison with a couple of hits tonight. And tonight, last night for voting in the All-Star game, and you can vote for all your favorite Pirates to be 2017 All-Stars with the Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Tonight's the last night. Vote at pirates.com/vote and then catch all the excitement of the 88th Major League Baseball All-Star Game, July 11th, live on Fox.
And you know, Joe, we're talking about the Pirates hanging in there. You certainly want to have a chance when Marte comes back. We know he's coming back for sure. And what's really kind of held things together is the starting pitching. Has been a story, not the whole story, but somehow, with the help of everybody else in the division, the Pirates could be in a pretty decent place when Marte comes back after the break. So when that happens, oh my goodness, July something seems a long way away. What, the 15th? And now it's not so far away, and the Pirates are still involved.
And Felipe Rivero.
Expect to see him in Miami.
Yeah, I would think he's a no-brainer. He's one of the best relievers in baseball, hands down. And the other representatives, Clint Hurdle talked about Ivan Nova. I think deserves strong consideration. Clint Hurdle thinks so. Josh Harrison, the way that he's played, could be considered. Clint Hurdle thinks so, and would be a great player to have, as Hurdle has managed an All-Star game before.
I think Joe Madden doesn't want to have a reliever like Felipe Rivero available. He'd like to have him all year.
Yeah. He rented one last year like him.
So far, Jameson Taillon handling this Rays batting order. He's got them off the board as he works here in the 6th inning. A lot of base runners, had a clean, very clean top of the 5th. 3 up, 3 down quickly.
One-two. There you go.
Yes, he did.
Oh yeah. Paul Emmel said so. That's the second out here in the 6th.
Strikeout number 4 comes at a nice time for Jamison as he gets the chase on the ball down, way down out of the strike zone. Here's the evidence. Not by much, but the umpire said he did, so that's all that counts.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be at your knees, right? And then all of a sudden, it's bouncing.
Footing issue for Jamison. He made the courtesy throw to first.
Shane Peterson's been up and down this year from AAA Durham. Had that ripping double in the 2nd, a good throw in that perhaps took a run off the board for the Pirates on McCutcheon's double last inning. And Frazier stays with it. But that errant throw allows Peterson to reach.
Nice backup by Chris Stewart.
That'll be a base hit.
You know, that ball that Peterson played, he positioned himself for a bounce and got the bounce he was looking for. The ball can go anywhere off that fence when Andrew hit it. And here's the ball off the heel of the glove by Adam, and after that it's a done deal.
Might have had a
Chris
chance
Stewart, yeah,
with a perfect
over.
throw, maybe, but probably not.
There's Stewart where he should be. And that's no big deal to Chris Stewart because he has been trained and developed to do that all his career. He's done a lot of that sort of thing.
Keep that ball from going out of play, too. So the runners stay at first and second. After Peterson's second hit tonight. Tyone has had some traffic throughout the evening. Echeverria, third game with the Rays. Infield hit already tonight. Out in front of the changeup.
Looking for another big out.
With the margin at 2. Softly hit. And an easy play.
Without drama.
Yeah, Morrison stopped running. And that made it even easier. 2 hits, 2 left. Pirates lead by 2. Beautiful images from our Allegheny Health Network Super Mode tonight as nightfall sets in here at PNC Park. A waxing moon tonight.
That's a bad paint job. Look at all the not smooth at all. Hanging up in a clear sky.
Yeah, beautiful night here tonight. And so far it's been smiles for the Buccos, leading 2-0. Jamison Tyone has been a bright light for the Pirates.
New lights, correct?
Yeah, the LED lights this year. A trend throughout baseball. Energy saving. And
I like them on the Christmas lights. I like that tone.
Yeah, they don't burn your hand when you touch them. Remember those big bulb lights?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Jaso cracked the home run over the wall in right center.
I can remember when it just candles on fire on trees back in the day when I was growing up.
In rural Connecticut.
In rural Connecticut.
Look at those numbers. Extra base hits too. It's not just a soft 318. Facing his old teammate in Archer. He got off to a slow start, and Jaso really this year The one thing that he says he's done differently is, with all the shifts that are on him tonight, at this moment not on, but he stopped trying to hit down on the ball. He's just trying to hit even with the ball, and I've seen a lot of those balls carry out of the ballpark, especially in the late game situations too. But Archer gets the better of him to start the 6th. His pitch count up to 90. Polanco trying to get hot before the break.
A couple of bouncers out to second base so far.
Now, we've seen glimpses, but not a lot of sustained hitting from Polanco. Only once all year has he had multiple hit games in consecutive games, meaning 2 hits back-to-back nights. Hasn't had a lot of momentum. And coming up on Saturday, the Pirates will take on the Giants at 4:05, and the first 20,000 fans will receive this El Cafe t-shirt modeled nicely by Gregory. It's thanks to Allegheny Health Network, and you can get your tickets at pirates.com/free shirt Saturday. So come on out. Chad Kuhl will be on the mound that night, facing Matt Moore. Archer pretty much a 2-pitch pitcher, but boy, that slider's awfully good. The fastball's awfully good.
Pitching well tonight, but he's just been outshone by Taillon to this point.
Yeah, if you're the Rays, you got to be very frustrated with how this most of this series has gone for them. The Pirates narrowly came back and squeaked one out in the 9th inning in the opener of this series. Taillon has put up a 0 through 6.
Archer reaching back and reaching 97 miles an hour in that last effort to throw the fastball by him. But Gregory staying alive.
Try to drive that pitch count up. Archer's spot is due up second next inning, so this is likely going to be his last frame, regardless of how it transpires.
Although currently nothing happening in the bullpen. See how it plays out.
Well, the Rays getting a boost into their bullpen today. Brad Boxberger, activated, has not pitched this season. Was once their closer. So the Rays bullpen, which has been beleaguered at times of late, maybe a little deeper tonight. Speaking of deeper, out to right, and there it goes. Gregory Polanco, home run number 6. He stayed with it, and on the 8th pitch, there was a home run.
Enough carry to get it up there, and they were working on hitting the breaking ball, as we saw all afternoon long with Jeff Branson. Jeff Lipsy off the machine, this time off the real deal.
Got one in the hitting zone over the heart of the plate.
A little breathing room.
Lead to 3. And the Pirates have been the team hitting the home runs in the series.
Chris Archer knows it's a short porch and knows he's down 3-0.
estimated at 395 feet on StatCast.
Well, it's got to be a great feeling. It's been a struggle for Gregory. It's been a real struggle, and he gets enough of that one.
Nice simple swing. And yeah, that 6 spot, that's where the magic is. Maybe this will get Polanco heating up.
Big item for the Pirates, that extra run, that extra little cushion. It's not a lot, but it seems a lot with the way Tyone's pitching.
And you look at it as the game moves on, you know, they get one runner on, all of a sudden the tying runs at the plate. Tying runs at the plate throughout the evening. Now you got to put 2 men aboard. Even then, it's only the tying run. Tyon is out on deck if it gets to him. Polanco's 6th home run. Been working hard, and it's paying off. Peterson had him played shallow, but plenty of time to get the final out. Gregory Polanco with the long ball.
Yep. Notch by notch. One at a time, but they're adding up.
And that long ball gives the Pirates a 3-0 lead.
On Root Sports is brought to you by the Chevy Colorado and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Gregory Polanco sending one into the seats and right. And the Pirates extend their lead. Trying to take the series from Tampa Bay.
And you love right where Jameson Taillon is in batting order now. He's got the 8-9-1. This could be could be a comfortable half inning.
And the way that he's pitched lately, a 12-pitch 4th, 10-pitch 5th, 10-pitch 6th. He's put himself in position to go here in the 7th. Despite only issuing one 1-2-3 inning so far. Alex Smith got the start off tonight, but he's on deck to pinch hit for Archer. Chase Whitley is getting active. Sucre 0 for 2 tonight. 21 out of 26. Getting ahead with strike one.
That helps. It just helps so much.
He's fallen behind hitters in that first inning, but since then it's been primarily in command. Will make Ray Searage happy. McCutchen was shading him toward right and had to go all the way to the left side. It'll be a double for Sucre. And the Rays threatening here in the seventh.
This ball hit right on the button, and Andrew coming across and in, and not quite able to get to it. And he almost got that ball in the face. That would not have been good. That would have been a hurting double. It stings a little bit, but with a 3-0 lead, it's certainly not emergency room stuff.
So Sucre in scoring position does not run well. This guy does, though. The pinch hitter Smith hitless over his last 12 after a hot start. Tyone has not pitched into the seventh inning since April 16th. And so Tony Watson will get up in back of him. That includes his rehab assignment.
Archer goes the 6 innings, giving up 3 runs on 8 hits, did not walk a batter, struck out 5, touched for 2 home runs.
And looking ahead, if Watson is a choice, Souza's on deck. He's a righty batter, but then the following 3, there are 2 out of 3 left-handed batters. So in theory, that would be a target if Tyone's still in hot water. He's back with a strike.
Smith had a chance to be ball 4, but looking at a replay indicating that it was right on the corner. Just when you think you got the stars aligned for a good spot in the batting order, the leadoff guy in the number 8 spot doubles. The spray chart. And Smith stays alive.
Sucre does not run well after that leadoff double. Even on a base hit to the outfield, he got a chance.
Yeah, probably not going to send him if it's anything borderline. They're down 3.
Nobody out. Souza on deck. He's hitless in 3 trips. He just missed. A double and a walk. Start the 7th. Tyone was in a similar spot in the 2nd and got a double play turn behind him to quell the noise.
And now the plot thickens.
He's thrown 14 pitches here without an out to the first 2 hitters.
Clint wants to know if they are ready. If Tony's ready, Ray Searage will buy some time.
Yeah, Watson's one of those guys that's usually pretty even splits. It doesn't just only get out lefties.
Yeah, when Tony's right, he's good against everybody. It's just been a struggle for him this year.
Since leaving the closer's role, he's been mostly better. Those overall numbers not normally where we've seen them with him.
Crossroads for Jameson Tyone as he works here in the top of the 7th inning. 2 on, nobody out. 3-0 lead to work with.
Souza's a decent runner. Tough to double up. At least fairly tough. Pirates will bet on him if he hits it on the ground to pull it or hit it up the middle. Laced foul.
Way out in front, hit it well, but very foul.
Yeah, Tyon has snuck in that changeup a few times tonight. Next one will be number 100 from him.
As the leash tightens.
Yeah, a threshold that he has seldom passed in his career, minors or majors. And he has been behind hitters here in this 7th inning after being fairly sharp and very effective.
Threw 104 last time out. Threw 108 his 3rd start of the year against the Cubbies.
And coming into this season, he had only gone over 100 pitches twice in his entire professional career. So what now, 4? This is number 5.
And again going off speed. Again getting Souza way out in front.
Yeah, a couple of 7-pitch at bats to start. Now a 5-pitch at bat brewing. Cracked out to left.
The Adam ball. Every pitcher's friend. That ball hit right on the button, but right at John Jaso. That's a big item. Souza was on it, but then Jaso was on it, and Clint wants to make a change.
Yeah, that's the 2nd ball in a row that Souza has crushed, but it was an out. So Tyon running out of gas. I don't know, sensing that, but he's so far shut out the Rays over 6 1/3. He can only win it tonight if the Pirates can hold on to this advantage. 3-0 in the 7th.
Cast is presented by the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
And the 3 outfielders in the middle of the Pirate P, mown into the grass.
3 amigos.
Jameson,
All 3
Tyon.
having a good night, by the way.
Yeah.
With the bat.
And on the mound, Tyon, he'd probably tell you he wasn't his sharpest tonight, but he is as effective as he's been in any of his starts.
Yeah. Putting up zeros against this ball club as you take a look at the numbers for Tony Watson as he comes in with a challenge. 2 on 1 out. Yeah, those 3 outfielders, 2 of them have home runs. The other guy's 3 for 3.
Facing Corey Dickerson, who bats .340 against left-handed pitching, so he's impervious to the left splits and has been a great hitter overall this year. Tough card to draw. Watson has inherited 11 runners. 6 have scored.
The sweeper. Nicely done to get out in front. That's a good place to be for a pitcher against anybody. So you come across the entire strike zone and out of the hitting, through the hitting zone and then out of the hitting zone.
Last night Watson gave up a hit on his slider for only the 2nd time all year.
If that's a slider, that's a big breaking slider.
Yeah. Usually it's a little tighter than that. And he strikes out Dickerson. 95 for Watson.
Looks more like Tony Watson right there after the big sweeper, up and in, not able to do much if you make contact. This time he did make contact. That was a little pitching clinic right there by number 44. Darn right you love it, Jamison. That's fun to look at, fun to watch.
Not an easy draw for Watson, but he gets Dickerson. And now Evan Longoria 0 for 2 tonight. Popped him up.
How about Tony Watson?
Oh yeah, Bell right there, and he strands the 2 runners. And Taillon has to applaud as the Rays blanked as we stretch here in Pittsburgh. We got here in the 3rd inning. Andrew McCutchen, one of his 3 hits tonight. I don't know how he hit that, but drove in Adam Frazier. And then John Jaso against his ex-teammate. 412 feet out to right center. And in the 6th, Polanco and Espresso out to right. 6th home run. Pirates leading 3-0. And a whitewashing issued tonight by Jamison Taillon.
6 1/3 scoreless for Jamison Taillon. Simple as that.
And a great job by Tony Watson. Needed 4 pitches to strand 2 runners to keep it at 3-0. Hope you had a good stretch. It's a gorgeous night here on the banks of the Allegheny.
Certainly had a good stretch of pitching tonight. 6 1/3, 7 hits, 0, 0, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, 103 pitches.
And great to see some success from Tony Watson, being asked to come on in tight situation there.
He's been there. He knows that movie. Seen it. Read that book. Chase Whitley coming on to make appearance number 24.
Ex-Yankee. And Jose Osuna pinch hitting. Retired to start the Pirates 7th. Let's look at our Nissan road ahead, and the Giants coming to town to conclude this homestand. We're on the air with you. Nissan road ahead. 6:30 tomorrow. Cole versus Cueto, and then Cool and more on Saturday afternoon, and the Sunday matinee. Trevor Williams against the Shark, Jeff Samardzija. The other Shark, Mark Melanson on the DL, so no return visit for Melanson. But Cole will get the nod. As the Pirates, if they can win tonight, will make it 2 straight series victories and try to stay pace with the 3 teams ahead of them. 2 have won and 1 leading big. There's Rick.
Rick has the greatest collections of throwback Pirate uniforms that you're ever going to see. He is never out of fashion. Never.
I talked to him today. I said, I made a Curious George reference. So there's the man in the yellow hat. He confused me for a banana with the all yellow get up. Those were stylish. Chase Whitley for the Rays out of Ranburne, Alabama, a town of 409, and he grew up on a chicken farm in northeastern Alabama, and he quipped, I was talking to him the other day about that. He goes, "That's how I learned to count." Growing up on that chicken farm.
But now when he left to play baseball, it took it down to 408.
408. Well, that's a great way to the big leagues. I said, but what is Ranburne, Alabama known for? He goes, I guess me. So small, right? I mean, 1 out of 400 to make it all the way to the big leagues. So a neat story for Chase Whitley out of Troy University in Alabama. There's Juan Nicasio. Will be next up. Tony Watson stranding 2 in a pressure-packed 7th. Josh Harrison tonight. Between he and McCutchen, they've been on base all 6 times. A couple of singles, and what else? A hit by pitch. There's Kutch, drove in a run tonight. That went off the wall, 3 for 3.
He's going to get a chance tonight. He can get himself up close to 280.
18. He's been hit twice tonight.
You can hear National League pitchers saying, well, yeah, he's got to hit a lot, but he's got to try to get out of the way too. But he's not going to give up any ground. He's going to protect his ground. He wants to protect that outside part of the plate. And, well, here he heads down to first base. I don't think he's going to attack the pitcher with that kind of movement toward first base. So,
I mean, what can you do with
the
smile?
games?
I mean, it hurts, but he's on base. I mean, that's some of the reason why his on base percentage has been so high. You know, he's so good at avoiding being tagged, sliding on the bases.
Begs the question,
right.
Why can't he get out of the way?
Maybe he's not trying to all the time. Just,
well,
if you're willing to take it. Right?
The only downside, is that if he gets hit and really hurt, and that can happen. And so then you said, my goodness, that's that. You wondered if that was going to be coming. But so far, it's been a hurting thing, but not serious hurting thing.
Well, Jay Hay now the distinction of one of 7 men in the history of baseball who have been hit twice in a game.
Now, you better
4
keep an eye on
times in
him.
a season.
Yep. But yeah, I knew he was going.
And he is safe.
And
he thought that Beckham still had the ball.
You also think Beckham was preventing him from getting up and going. Yeah, you know, in this situation, the Pirates have a comfortable 3-0 lead. Comfortable being an operative word. And why not take a shot? Nothing happening with 2 outs. And works out, puts him in scoring position.
Look at our Allegheny Health Network Supermo. Helmet beat the hand in.
Yep. And if Beckham has the glove where the ball bounces, and that's a hard thing to do, might have been able to just keep it right there and get a call, but slips on by, and the Pirates have a chance with Andrew to add on.
All he's done tonight is hit 2 singles and a double.
Have yourself a night, Andrew.
I mean, and the style of hitting. I mean, the last time up, he had a 97 fastball over the heart of the plate.
What's his
but
average?
He hit it the opposite way.
Yeah, what's his average now? 278, something like that.
Take a look. Yeah, it's. I would think it's right around there. Yeah, 278. How do you know these things, Steve?
It's a gift. No, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's a guess.
And with first base open, they didn't even want to contest it. They'd rather face Bell with 2 on and 2 out. So McCutchen and Harrison on base all 8 times tonight. On Game of Thrones night. A lot of people taking in the theme night.
I would just like to see Andrew coming out of his homestand after the dust settles after Sunday, about 280, 283. I mean, what a journey it has been. What a journey it has been.
Memorial Day, he's hitting 200.
Yep. Yeah, let's take it from Memorial Day to 4th of July and take it from 200 to 290.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
He's heading that way.
He's a holiday guy.
Yeah. Bell tonight hitless in 3 trips. Homered yesterday. McCutchen on base all 4 times tonight.
You could put the whipped cream and the cherry on this game right now if you get Josh to run into one.
No doubt. Make it comfy. No Pirates have ever faced Whitley.
But he knows a little bit about Josh Harrison. He's watching him because if he gets careless in a minute, Josh might go, even though you never want to get it thrown out at third base. Yeah.
That'll work.
There it is.
Here comes Jay rambling in to score, and an RBI single for Josh Bell. 4-0.
Yeah, go ahead and hit Josh Harrison again. Go ahead and hit him. Let him come all the way around to make you hurt.
Yeah, he pitched around McCutchen, got to Bell, and he drives one in.
Right there. No doubter. Line shot, plenty of steam on it. 2 outs, no problem for Jay.
36th RBI for Bell. Adam Kolarek coming on to make his major league debut for the Rays. bottom to look forward to Miller time later in the game. Brought to you by Miller Lite. 4-0 Pirates, and still threatening here with 2 outs. What is that?
Give it a whirl. That's a spinner.
Oh.
My grandson showed me how to work those things.
Oh. Josh
It
Bell
had me
worked,
baffled
Chase
until
Whitman.
he taught me.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Andrew McCutchen walked. They pitched around him. Bell singling in Josh Harrison. And now Adam Kolarek will make his major league debut. Facing John Jaso, who is homered tonight. Both runners are going. And McCutchen is thrown out. And that ends the inning. So Adam Kolarek makes his major league debut and gets an out without having to retire a batter. 4-0 Pirates.
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Barrel. Our service centers are now open evenings and weekends. Visit barrelservice.com for more. And by Levin's, the official furniture and mattress supplier to the Pittsburgh Pirates. For the best quality, service, and value, shop Levin's. Let's go Bucks!
And Josh Harrison signing a young guy's shirt here today, making memories not only with what they do on the field, but sometimes before a game, visiting with some of the fans, getting a moment to just have a glimpse of their favorite player. Big nights for that pair, and now Juan Nicasio on as the margin increases to 4 here in the 8th.
Tony Watson, as you said, as tight as you could be. Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. Next pitch, an out. Get off the field. Take the steam right out of that early possible rally for the Rays.
Sub-3 ERA for Nicasio, who has endured a couple of rough spots lately. I mean, he an ERA in the low 1s a little over a week ago, but it shows you how well he's pitched this year, even after a couple of bumps. Still a very good earned run average. Morrison 2 singles tonight, 10-game hitting streak. Been on base in 21 straight games. One of the top 3 in home runs in the American League.
They have shut down some pretty strong bats so far. Nicasio works in the 8th inning.
Yeah, I mean, the whole series, really. The Rays scored twice in the 10th inning on Tuesday night, and that was the opener of the series. They scored twice the first 9 innings of that game. Scored twice last night. and nothing so far here tonight. I mean, this is a team that entered the series, one of the top in the top quarter or so of teams in baseball in run scoring, and the second most home runs. Stewart seems to be okay. Elias Diaz, I'm sure, perks up every time something happens, and vice versa.
You want to make sure that Stewart is okay.
Hit on the backswing. That's happened a couple times this week to him.
You look at it here. That goes forward. A glancing blow, but a blow nonetheless. You feel it.
Todd Tomczyk, head athletic trainer. With Francisco Cervelli on the disabled list, still suffering from symptoms related to the concussion that he experienced just over 3 weeks ago. Always worry about that with catchers, especially. Stewart is been fortunate enough never to have suffered a concussion. John Jaso had to leave catching for that reason. Came back to the Rays in 2015 just to be a DH. Good start for Juan Nicasio.
Well, what do you expect, Joe? This bullpen was airtight last night. On the way to doing that again tonight.
The only reliever to give up a run in this series is Felipe Rivero.
Wouldn't you know?
4 men going scoreless inning last night. Beckham 1 out of 3 tonight. Now Milwaukee, a big lead in Cincinnati. The Cardinals have won tonight. The Cubs have won tonight. Those are the teams ahead of the Pirates in the NL Central standings. Pirates entering play tonight 4 back of Milwaukee. Got to win to stay pace.
Keep pace. Yep. And the Pirate bullpen so far tonight has thrown nothing but strikes.
And ahead.
Maybe with the exception of the strikeout, but everything else.
We're just talking about those standings. I mean, look, the Pirates are 6 games under 500. They're 4 games out. So, as Clarence Hill was talking about today, he still feels this team has not played its best baseball. You look at, Polanco homering tonight. What if he starts coming around? Starling Marte comes back in 3 weeks. And there's a lot of games in the division left to be played. So you got to climb over 3 teams. The Pirates have to play better. But because of the rest of the division, they don't have to play astronomically better to find themselves in the postseason. So they've still got a shot.
The thing is, when you're playing a division, you beat your opponent that night. You gain on him, and if somebody else is losing, you're gaining on other people too, regardless of who they're playing.
Softly hit, and a nice snare by Mercer.
Good stretch, good reach, good wingspan for Jordy.
Logan Morrison, a strikeout victim to begin the inning.
More strikes, more strikes.
Shane Peterson, a double and a single tonight. Infield hit. Out of Temecula, California. came up as a first baseman, and he has learned the outfield. Made a nice play out there in right tonight. You think about John Jaso, who just learned first last year, in fact, and learning the outfield on the fly this year. He's improving. And Juan Nicasio, a 1-2-3 8th inning, so 5 up, 5 down for the Pirates pen tonight. Look at this one here tonight. John Jaso with a base hit on the first pitch. So he was batting when Adam Kolarek came on and made his major league debut. And how about Jaso hitting lefties?
Yeah.
I mean, not great, but 222. That's way better than he's done throughout his career. 4 hits already this year.
Well, tonight when he's put the ball in play, it's been successful. 4 at bats, a couple of strikeouts, home run, and a single. Productive night for the Pirate left fielder. We always have to find out where John Jaso is going to be. He can play all over the place.
Give him credit. He's had to learn on the fly a lot, put in a lot of work. Polanco homered his last time. Worked an 8-pitch at bat. Sent one into the seats in right. Here's a tweet from Jamie. I want a bobble dread. It's like a bobblehead.
Well, you know that's.
But only the dreads bobble.
Yeah. Well, you know somebody's watching that can make that happen. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's in production as we speak.
There you go.
That's a great idea, though, and that's how things happen like that. Sharing the ideas. So.
Well, you can grow dreadlocks. You can fall out of a chair. I mean.
Yeah, we've had a bobble chair.
All kind of bobbles.
Yeah. Bobble chair, bobble hair. Weekly hit. Not in time on the relay, so just the force. Slow developing play.
Yep.
Yeah, he beat it out. So fielder's choice. Trading the base runners. It's the first out recorded by Adam Kolarek to a to a batter. First batter he's retired. His first out on a caught stealing in his major league career. Been in the minors a long time. Called up in this series.
A bit of a sidewinder.
Out of University of Maryland. 320 games, 8 seasons in the minor leagues. It's the call up. Debuting tonight.
What, make him a terrapin?
Yes.
Chirps, as they call him. Here he comes.
Doesn't throw hard, but deceptive, right?
Kind of back across. Yeah, we'll move toward first base and then bring it back around.
Making it more impressive that Jaso got a hit off him. Left-handed batter. Jaso with 2 hits tonight, including that home run back in the 4th. Pirates trying to shut out the Rays tonight and take the series.
That's not an easy thing to do.
It's got to be nice for Kolarek too. You think about there's some bloodlines there too. His dad Frank was a AAA catcher, made it all the way to a 1 step below the major leagues in the A's chain back in the 70s. And for a guy, you're that close, you think about what it would be like. Well, now his son, he's a major leaguer,
carrying the banner for Dad
and registering his first major league strikeout. Well, he'll remember that, fanning Jordy Mercer.
Number 1, hopefully for him, first of many.
And they take care of that baseball, a souvenir for Kolarek. All right, that's enough, Adam. There's the authenticator.
Now, will they just give him the baseball, or will they try to sell it?
No, this will go to him, but they authenticate with a special sticker. There it is. It's coded. It also helps too in the event that the Hall of Fame may take a ball. Not in this case, but if someone hits their 500th career home run or something like that, and that way the Hall of Fame can know it's true.
Now the broken bats, they authenticate them.
Those end up usually getting sold.
Yeah. Okay.
But for Kolarek, depending on what the clubhouse manager of the Rays likes to do, some of those guys will paint it or put a nice inscription on there.
Oh, some will do other things to some of those firsts too.
That also kind of thwarts the fake ball, right? The one where they intentionally misspell some things.
Yeah,
look for the sticker, Adam.
They'll play tricks on the rookies.
And almost clipped Stewart. I got hit on the backswing last inning. Narrowly avoiding being struck there. Yeah, he gets hit enough. He's not going to take any. Off the plate. Chavarria right at the bag. Oh, leadoff hit. And a man left. Ninth coming up. And Santana coming on. San Francisco Giants for a 3-game series, and Garrett Cole on the mound for the Pirates, matching up against Johnny Cueto. And our coverage begins at 6:30 with Pirates pregame presented by WB Mason. Cole versus Cueto all night.
David Freese checking in. It's Correa. Lead it off in the 9th inning against the young right-hander Edgar Santana. Appearance number 7. Getting his feet wet at the major league level. He has made a pretty brisk stride up the organizational ladder for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, great story. Didn't even play baseball as a youth. And then learned the game just before his 20s began. Not even signed until just a few days before his 22nd birthday. Tyone, Watson, Nicasio, and now Santana. And Watson and Nicasio retired the 5 men they faced.
There's a couple of perfectos. First with the fastball, now with the breaking ball, that slider that a little bit of a signature for him, and then come in on the hands and see how that works.
Easy to get excited about his stuff. Spring training, I mean, you could just look at him and go, wow, this. You know, there are guys that have good spring trainings, and there are guys that you can see why they're having a good spring training.
He was designated for assignment. His assignment is to get to the big leagues.
Now he came on. He was warming up last night. Same situation. 4-run lead in the 9th. Clint Hurdle had the choice of either Santana or Felipe Rivero, and he went with Rivero. And today, as Rivero warms, he would be pitching for the 3rd straight day.
This is a safety net right here in case Edgar, the young pitcher, struggles. You don't want to give them any rope here in the 9th inning.
Stewart could not hold on, but Clint Hurdle saying today that last night he elected to go with Rivero because even though it wasn't a safe situation, he said, well, you put a couple of men on. Now it is a safe situation and you have to go to Rivero anyway, and then you put Santana in a spot where he's coming out of a game where he's feeling like he's going to try to complete the inning. Jaso navigating that one and getting out number 1 in the 9th.
It's an out. The rest is details. Yep. The rest is details. It got into the glove. Well hit, but Pirates got it covered.
Allegheny Health Network Supermo.
John's got it locked in. Oh, that ball. See a little. There's a little notch of padding up there that probably would have kept it in the ballpark, but John had it measured.
Jesus Sucre with a double. His last time up, 1 for 3 tonight. 4-0 Pirates here in the 9th. And he's got his 2nd hit.
Two balls well hit. It's certainly not an alarm at this point.
Well, Clint Hurdle has been a guy that will go with the closer when it is a save opportunity. And in this case, if another man reaches, it would be. So he would possibly use Rivero for a 3rd straight day. Pitches yesterday, 20 in the game prior.
95-mile-an-hour fastball. Tom Prince alongside Pirate skipper.
Bluefish pinch hitting. for Kolarek. Former Minnesota Twin and briefly with Oakland before being let free. Well, you got Rivero, the Pirates do, under team control for many years to come. But Santana has, at least shown the kind of stuff that when you look down the road, well, as he establishes himself in the major leagues, he has that kind of stuff. Not quite like Rivero does. Rivero's at another level.
Yeah.
But Santana also has that good stuff. Maybe he could, in time, ascend to a late inning role. It's off the glove of Stewart. And that will now prohibit any double play chance. Stewart, the veteran, counseling the rookie.
Yep. That maybe he was expecting a different pitch.
It'll be a pass ball. So Craig does not run well.
At this point, not even an issue.
Don't want to make it one with the top of the order coming up. Santana got off to a roaring start at AAA. And his first 25+ innings allowed just one earned run. He comes back to strike out Plouffe. So 2 gone in the 9th. Look at this thing. I think it's about knee high and it bounces to home plate.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing because it's supposed to go a little bit sideways. That ball kind of the bottom fell out of it. Whatever it was, it worked.
So Santana trying to close a game. Not a save situation, but trying to close out a game.
And folks standing up looking for out number 27. It's been a dominant game, but it's been hard work. I mean, they've made it work with the bits and pieces of offense and some really, really outstanding pitching.
Souza has lined out hard his last 2 times up. Pirates aiming also for a whitewashing.
You got a man there.
And they've got it. Their 4th shutout of the season. And for the first time all year, the Rays held homerless in a series. The Pirates take 2 out of 3, blanking Tampa Bay tonight 4-0.
Really tight, well-played baseball game. The Pirates went step by step. Again, the limited offense, the great pitching, great work from Tyone and the bullpen. And they shut down the Rays, and an impressive win. Maybe not as much of a headline as some other wins, but this was rock solid all the way.
And for the Pirates in this series, yeah, you mentioned that bullpen, Steve. 9 2/3 innings for the pen, and just the 1 earned run given up by Rivero on Tuesday night. Santana finishes up, and McCutcheon on base all 4 times tonight. Harrison on base all 4 times tonight. Pirates will stay 4 games back of Milwaukee with their 4-0 victory over the Rays here tonight. And let's go out now to Rob and Teague.
Joe and Steve, thanks very much. We'll be checking back in with the guys in just a little bit. Teague, nice to win a series. Continue to play good, solid baseball as you move towards the All-Star break. And for the Pirates, kind of another complete game. We talked about it last night. Enough offense, starting pitching, bullpen, defense, all those elements in place.
Yeah, and this is the kind of game, where it's not a lopsided game where you score a bunch of runs or you give up a bunch of runs or the other team does. This was a tight ball game all the way through, and the Pirates did what they needed to do. They pitched well, and they got runs and then added on runs. So it was just a complete game by the Pirates tonight as they took the Rays 4-0. It looks like it was probably a little wider margin than it really was, but it was nice to see the bullpen for the second night in a row also get their job done.
Once again, Josh Harrison in the middle of the Pirates offensive action. He is standing by with Robbie and Smikowski.
Yeah, how about these top three hitters for the Buccos tonight? Fantastic with Frazier, Harrison, and McCutchen. You combine right here is, by my count, 6 hits. You reach base 9 times. What was it with you guys, and how'd that help propel this team tonight?
Just trying to get on base and know that when we get on base, we can make things happen. And as you mentioned, it was 9 times a day, and we were able to score 4 runs and, get him out the stretch and put pressure on him.
How about when you look at Jamison Tyone? He's been fantastic since returning from his surgery, and then the bullpen locking it down. Just the last 2 nights, what kind of boost have they given the clubhouse and you guys on the field?
It's very good because it's been a team effort from, everybody from the lineup, starting pitching, bullpen. And that's all we can ask for is that everybody chip in because that's when we're our best.
We discussed during the broadcast about how you get hit by pitches so much, but you don't let that deter your approach when you're at the plate. How hard is it to do that?
It's easier said than done, but you got to be stubborn. And I know they're trying to come in with a purpose, and I can't let it get in my head to make me feel like I got to change something. So, hopefully they start missing more on the plate and not on my body.
This is going to sound ridiculous. You're 5 games under 500 right now and climbing your way up, but you're just 4 games back between the division leaders, the Milwaukee Brewers and the NL Central. What do you make of where things stand as we approach the halfway point of the season?
We're right where we need to be, and we just got to keep pushing along and using everybody that we need to because, good things will happen when everybody contributes.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
How about it for Josh Harrison and the Buccos victorious? Rob, they take their 2nd consecutive series. They'll open another one tomorrow here against the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, good stuff, Robbie. Thanks very much, Josh Harrison. As usual, one of the spark plugs for the Pirates. Teak, as we promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. We talked about Jamison Tyone in the pregame show. What did you see from him tonight?
I saw more consistency from him. His pitch efficiency was good. He was able to, stay ahead of the hitters. His numbers were real good until that last inning. It took him 20 pitches to get through, just a third of that 7th inning. But other than that, he was in complete control. The curveball was sharp. The fastball command was good. And to me, it looked like the Tyone that I saw prior to missing the time with the surgery.
ERA down to 2.97 for Jamison Tyone as he picked up the victory tonight. Pirates defeating the Tampa Bay Rays by the final score of 4-0. Coming up on Pirates postgame, presented by the Allegheny Health Network, we're going to talk about some of the topics we discussed, plus Andrew McCutchen and Tony Watson with Teak. We'll get back to Joe and Steve, highlights from this game and around the league, postgame reaction and more up next.